Hi, friends. I'm Emily Lay, and you're listening to the Simplified podcast. If you're looking for a place to put down the weight of expectations and talk through some tactical ways we can love ourselves and others a bit more, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Every week, I spend a few minutes exploring how we can grow boldly right where we are so that we can dare to build a life we love. Guys, I know that creating a life that's a bit more simplified can take a little work and a whole lot of help. That's why Team Simplified and I have created a whole library of free digital resources at emilylay.com that you can have at your fingertips 24/7. We have a ton of free printables and beautiful phone wallpapers, plus you can access our coaching videos if you purchased a simplified planner, and so much more. So if you are looking for a way to level up your simplified life a bit more, head on over to emilylay.com and click the More tab to find our treasure trove of free digital resources today. A few weeks ago, I took a trip with my 6-year-old twins, Tyler and Caroline. It wasn't much, just an overnight getaway for some special quiet time with Mom while Dad and big brother Brady were on a trip of their own. Brady's sitting right next to me. The twins and I, we stayed at a really beautiful hotel on the beach, and I had visions of kicking back on a beach chair and reading a book uninterrupted while the kids played in the sand and the surf. And they did play for a little bit. Then we went to lay on a hammock for a little while. Then we played some cornhole and putt-putt. And then, you see where I'm going here. The fun, relaxing getaway I had planned wasn't turning out the way I thought it would. No one seemed to be enjoying anything more than 20 minutes at a time because it's too hot or it's too cold, or my personal favorite, it's too sunshiny. So I did what any level-headed parent would do. I gave up. We went upstairs to our room, we all got cleaned up, and I ordered the movie Wonder for us to snuggle up and watch together. I really loved that book, and I hoped the story might capture Caroline and Tyler as well. And luckily, I was right. If you've never read Wonder or seen the movie, let me fill you in. Wonder tells the story of a boy named Augie who was born with a facial difference that prevented him from going to a mainstream school. That is, up until Augie's 5th grade year. And as Augie starts school, he wants nothing more than to be treated like an ordinary kid. But his new classmates can't get past Augie's extraordinary face. But over time, we see how Augie's classmates and community come together and show all kinds of empathy, compassion, and acceptance. It's a really beautiful story. The twins had a million questions about what was happening to Augie, about why he was sad, about making friends when you're new, about being friends with everyone, and what it really means to include others, what we call being an includer. I didn't expect to find magic while we were tucked away inside that hotel room, watching a movie on a perfectly beautiful, sunshiny day. But isn't that how the good stuff happens, just when you least expect it? What an important lesson for our kids, that we need each other. We need every single person, no matter who they are or what they look like or how they move through the world. And we need to look for the people who don't seem to have anybody and take them into our own circles. I've been thinking about this a lot lately and how to help our kids be the most kind and courageous people they can be. Over the past century, our communities look a bit different than they used to. That's no surprise given all the change we've seen in the way we work and play and create our families. But one of the things that's alarming social science researchers is this. They're seeing a trend that shows we're having fewer and fewer relationships in our lives. We don't live in communities of family and friends as big and diverse in age and experience as we used to. And what's alarming is that this lack of relationships has a direct impact on our mental health, starting when we're kids. When kids have more real-world relationships that are strong and healthy, then their mental health is strong and healthy. And kids who are mentally healthy are more resilient, and they're able to show love to other people. Because in order to love others, we have to be loved ourselves. Toward the end of the school year, a few weeks ago, Brady got to be a guest in Tyler and Caroline's kindergarten class. He got to stay home from school so he could Zoom into the twins' class and read them a book. Afterward, the teacher asked Brady if he had any words of advice for this group of kindergartners, a piece of wisdom that he wanted to pass along. And he wasn't prepared for this. There was no preparation of, okay, get your story together or whatever. It was totally off the cuff.
Yeah, it was just off the top of my brain. What would I say to a group of kindergartners who are going into first grade?
Right. What would you say to kindergartners going into first grade? He told the class of kindergartners to look out for the lonely kids, to go sit by them at lunch or invite them over to eat, to go and play with them on the playground. And y'all, I'm sorry, Brady, I'm going to embarrass you because you're sitting right here, but I simply cannot. I cannot. I could not even handle. I could not deal. My mama heart just swelled so big because there's nothing more than I want of my kids than to know that they're kind and that they're includers. Brady told those kids to be includers, and it was truly one of the proudest moments I've ever had as a mom. And I don't say that to brag, because goodness knows I've been blessed to have Brady, and he's got a slew of good influences in his life that I am so grateful for. I tell you this to reassure you. In this world full of division and anger and loneliness, it's possible to raise a kid who looks out for other people. I don't know how I'm going to get through this without crying. Oh, goodness. It's possible to model what it looks like to love other people well. And I wonder what our world would look like if we worked to raise a whole generation of kids who are includers. So I have a treat for you today. I've asked my very own includer, Mr. Brady Lay, to come on the show to share a bit more about his advice to the kindergartners that day and to get a real world sense of what our kids are living with at school, at home, in the world, and beyond. I love this kid so much. I want to just squeeze him. He is my firstborn. I'll let him tell you all about himself, but he is just golden through and through, and he is not perfect, but he is really, really great. Okay, I'll stop gushing about Brady eventually. Here's my conversation about being an includer with my 10-year-old son, Brady Lay. Hi, Brady.
Hello.
Welcome to the Simplified podcast in your house, in my office. You guys, I'm so excited for you to get to know Brady a little bit better today. You may have seen him around the Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
You may have seen him in a couple of my books. You may have seen him on a commercial for one of my books in Target once. He's just a cool dude. He's my oldest. And he's a really good human. And it's been very important to us. I think I can credit a lot of my passion about this to my mom being a teacher, and my mom always telling me to look for the kids who are left out. And so ever since Brady was tiny, like whenever he gets out of the car or whenever the twins get out of the car to go to school, we say two things: be an includer, and what else?
Crush it.
Okay, Daddy says crush it. Brian says he tells the kids to crush it. But our friend Jen gave us a bit of it. Well, Tim actually gave us a bit of advice that we also love and we say every day. And what's that one? Stay away
from the complainers.
Stay away from the complainers. All right. So Brady, when you're on the Zoom for Tyler and Caroline's class, and their teacher asked you that question about like what advice you would get, could you just tell everyone, like maybe other people listening have kids who are listening and maybe they want to hear your advice. So could you just kind of share it here again?
Okay. So my advice to the kindergartners was I moved to a new school and I've felt what it's like to really know, like, just to not feel like you're there, like not feel like there's that group of friends that you want to be hanging out with, and you just can't hang out with them. And if one of those kids in that group was an includer, you would be included, and you would feel included, and then you'd be an includer. It's kind of just a trait that you might be able to pass on, and I think that to the kindergartners, I said, just being included, because in first grade, there might need some new kids. I know what it's like to be a new kid. And if you include them, it's just one good thing that you did that day. One good thing that they'll go home and tell their mom, hey, I made a new friend. Or, hey, I was able to play with that group of friends that I was able to play with that I wasn't able to play with yesterday. And because of this one kid. And it just leaves, like, it might not feel like a lot, but you actually had to make that kid have a good day.
I love that.
You helped him out.
You did. You totally helped him out. And I think, and we're going to talk about some times that maybe we have felt lonely or left out, but I think in any situation as a kid, it's easy to like put your blinders on and go straight for your all like the friends you always play with, right? But it takes like a whole other level of paying attention and being aware to kind of open your eyes and look around and say, like, is there anybody alone right now? Or is there any, like, say you're playing outside, right? Like, is there anybody alone? Is there anybody that looks like they might need a friend? And to actively, like, go up to them. You never know. You know? Maybe they want to play by themselves, or maybe they're shy. You know? So, how old are you?
I am 10.
I know how old you are, but they don't.
Yeah.
You're 10. And you are going into the
5th grade.
And has there ever been a time in your life where you felt lonely or alone or, you know, you felt outside the circle? What did that feel like for you? And was there someone that included you?
So there was a time that this happened to me. There's probably more times that this happened to me, but really the only notable one was I was going to a new school. We moved from Tampa to Pensacola, and we moved to a completely new school where I knew no one at that school. And this is probably something that has happened to most of you. If you've ever been to a new school, you're like worried, like, am I gonna make any new friends, or is anyone gonna want to be my friend? And so there's a thing we do at my school called shadowing, and it's where you'll go to the school for one day. And I went to shadow at my school, and so I just got there, me and my mom, and I walked in with some of the people from the school. They told me about how cool the school was, and of course it's really cool. And I walked into the classroom, and when someone's shadowing, normally the whole class knows about it. Like, there's a seat for the person, there's someone who helps, like, teach the person the ropes. I just walked into the classroom knowing no one in that classroom. Never had I seen anyone in my life like them. And a person just walked up to me and said, hey, you want to play with me? You want to play football with me and my friends at lunch? And I'm like, sure. So at lunch that day, I played football. And I remember it. It was really fun. And it kind of just leaves that impact on you. Like, you were at school and you felt kind of lonely. You walked into a new situation, or you've just been there and you haven't really had a friend to play with. And I walked in and I felt included. And from this day on, I remember that day. And I remember that I was included. And if I can include other people, it will make them feel the way just like I did. And I know that feels good.
I remember you telling me that story because the whole day that you were shadowing, I was so nervous because I just wanted to walk in with you and be like, okay, all of you are going to love him because he's wonderful. So let me make sure you're all friends before I leave him. But it doesn't work like that when you're a parent. Like, you have to let your kids go off and do things. Yeah, go ahead.
And just one more thing. The person who taught me the ropes was also very helpful. And that also made me feel included a lot. She was really nice. She just taught me the ropes. She was really nice.
Yeah. She was a helper too.
Yeah, she was really nice.
I just think it's so important because as you grow up, you're in a lot of situations and scenarios like that, right? Where you don't know a lot of people. But how did it make you feel? Like, how did it make, because you felt lonely, and how did it make you feel when somebody went out of their way to come up to you and be like, hey, why don't you come play football with us? He didn't know who you were. He didn't know if you were any good at football, but he wanted you on his team.
And I was like, I just felt really good because I had just walked into that school and I had just been included by someone I didn't know. But they walked up and knew that I might need a friend and that I might need a little bit of help because I just came to school.
So let's say that someone does not know how to be an includer. Like, what does it look like to actively be an includer? Like, let's say there are kids listening or parents listening who are going to talk to their kids about being an includer. And let's say that they are going to school tomorrow and they want to be an includer. What would you tell them to do?
So, at lunch or recess or any place that your teacher wouldn't get mad at you if you got out of your seat or anything, if you went like to the playground and you're sitting there and you're playing with your normal group of friends and you're just sitting there having fun, you might maybe just look around, do like a quick 180, look around the playground, and if you see a kid that just looks like he's just playing by himself, he doesn't have many friends, if you went up and asked him, hey, you want to play with me and my friends, or hey, can I play with you, it really leaves a big impact, and it really helps just to do that because it leaves an impact. As I said, it's like burning something onto something. It's like it will stay there forever.
I so agree. Like, it really
leaves a mark in a good way because you just impacted that person's life. Because like the next day they might say, hey, can I play with you and your friends? And you'll be like, sure.
And then what if they went on to be an includer to others as well?
Then if they went on, it's like a virus in a good way.
It's a virus, but a good one.
Because it's spreading, and if more people are includers, if more people include each other, there'll be more includers, and it's literally just like a positive trait that spreads on everyone.
It's like dominoes.
Yeah. It's like one domino taps another domino, that taps another 2 dominoes, that might tap another 3 dominoes.
That's right. I remember when we moved here, and even as a grown-up, I felt lonely because I didn't have a ton of friends here. And I remember certain friends reaching out and saying, hey, come to lunch with me and my friends. I want to introduce you. Or, hey, come to church with us. I want you to see what it's like. And even as a grown-up, it makes a difference for someone to include you because you feel loved, and then you're able to love other people better. Okay, so tell us about a time, if you can think of one, where you included someone in something that you were doing with others or even by yourself. And I remember, I mean, you may have an idea of something you want to share, but I know one that's really big that I remember for you. And it was...
I think I remember it.
What?
Was it also at my school?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I remember this. I got a shadow.
Yeah, it was that one. Yeah.
Okay, so there was a new kid who came to my school.
But you were new, too.
I was new, too. And I just got the trait that I was just included. This was in
maybe because Jack was such an includer to you.
In my 2nd grade. And I think I passed it on. So there's a very popular game at my school. Some of your kids might know it. It is called Gaga Ball.
I still don't know what this is.
Very weird name. Pretty fun. And it's like a thing in my school that everyone knows how to play. It's like that one thing you need to know how to play at recess. 'Cause back then, everyone used to play it at recess. And there was a new kid at our school. It was Charlie. He didn't know how to play. So we're playing at recess. Both classes, like the majority of the people in the 2nd grade are in the Gaga Ball playing. And he's like, hey, how do I play? And everyone else is too busy playing their Gaga Ball. I step out of the pit and I teach them. And the teacher saw that and I'm pretty sure Charlie told the teachers. And it's just like, I included him in something that we all did, so now he's included.
So now he can play with you guys.
He can play with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about if everybody was an includer? Like, if everybody was an includer in the 5th grade next year, and they looked for the kids who were new, and they looked out for the kids who felt different or felt like they didn't fit in when they walked into the room, how do you think that would change 5th grade at your school next year?
I think it would give a lot more of a positive vibe for my class, and it would kind of just change some people's mindsets, because, like, some people are like, stay to yourself, or like, just keep to yourself. I don't know how to say it.
Like, stick with your buddies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, just stay with your buddies. Don't get in trouble with some other kid. But like, sometimes you gotta take risks. Sometimes it's not even risk, really. You're helping another kid. You're doing a positive thing that will leave a mark on another kid. But
what if there's other kids? Okay, so let's say you're in 2nd grade again. What if there's a kid? What if there's a kid where some of the other kids are like, oh, he's not cool, or he's weird, or he's different, or maybe they've tried to put him down, and they're kind of like, don't be friends with him, Brady. Like, what do you do in that situation?
In that situation, I'm just going to say, if you do that, I heard something back in, like, kindergarten, and I'm pretty sure all of you know what this is. It's treat others like you want to be treated. And if you just pause time and think, if you were in that kid's position, how would you feel? If you were the kid who came into the school and everyone in your class and in your grade was like, don't hang out with that kid. That kid is just not cool. You would feel hurt.
Yeah.
But if someone walked up to you and they included you and they said, hey, you want to play with me at recess? They would feel happy, because they have someone who doesn't care where they came from. They care that they're friends with them and that he's an includer.
Mm-hmm.
Or that she's an includer. And that they just left a mark on them and they made them an includer. Because they included him.
That's good. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? So I think it's also difficult sometimes when we look different, or we believe different, or our family makeup is different, or yeah, like, what do you think about that? Like, should you only be friends with people who are like you, or do you think it's important? I mean, I know the answer to this because I know you and we talk about this all the time, but I think it's just so important for us as adults and as children to be friends with everybody.
Everyone.
And we say this in our family, and we say this at Simplified, like, make your table big enough for everybody. Everybody gets a seat at the table. Every single person gets a seat at the table. And I often think about it as it relates to kids at school, like a lunchroom table. And I know your school's a little different, but when at some schools they have a big lunchroom.
I had one back at my old school.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So big lunchroom and
Cafeteria.
A big cafeteria, and like it's like sometimes you get to sit where you want, and it'll be like one kid will be left out, or 2 kids will have nobody to sit with, or a table will be full and someone will walk over with their tray and be like, I guess I'll go sit by myself. And that just, it kills me. And I just think all the time, like, just make a bigger table. Like, everyone should have a seat at the table. And the only time I think it's important to, like, put distance between yourself is when you have someone who refuses to be an includer, Like, that's not a good domino to knock down at all. Like, let's say you and I have never had this conversation before, and you're going to school tomorrow, and I really want to work on this with you. Like, I want you to be an includer. I think it's important to just say it every morning. Like, when you get out of the car, we tell you the important things you need to remember. Be an includer. Stay away from complainers. And then Brian's daddy says, crush it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think it's important to always have that front of mind. And then when you get in the car, a lot of times I'll say, how were you an includer today? Right.
And you will just answer. You'll have to find some way to answer.
Right.
And if you don't have an answer, I'm not going to say that you're bad or like that you didn't do right, but you always want to find a way every day to be an includer.
Yeah.
Even if it's in the smallest way, like saying, hey, come sit at my lunch table, or hey, come play with my friends.
Or even just giving someone a compliment. Or
Yeah.
being like,
Yeah.
hey, you did great at that.
Yeah.
Or even just asking them a question. Can you imagine, like, there are some kids that are new or shy or whatever, and no one talks to them. So to even go up to someone and say, hey, what'd you do this weekend? Or like go over and introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm Brady. What's your name? You know? Let's see. I want to know if you have any other thoughts that you would like to share before we get into rapid fire, because I have some quick questions for you.
Okay, so anything I would like to share else?
About being an includer. Or how great your mom is. That's fine too.
Come on, Mom. About being an includer, I think I shared everything. I think that's,
Don't be afraid to do it. I think that's...
Be brave.
Be brave. Don't be afraid to do it. You might actually change someone's life.
Yeah.
Or make their day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Don't look at my screen because I have them written down right here. You look over there. Okay. Brady, so first thing comes to your head, you just have to say it, okay? What's your favorite thing to do with your friends?
I don't know. Maybe like play outside with them or play video games with them.
Okay. How do you include your brother and sister in things our family is doing? Or in something you're doing by yourself? How are you an includer to Tyler and Caroline?
Oh, okay. I just learned how to play chess, and I taught my brother how to play chess, and now we play all the time.
Yeah, that was really cool. Because he's 4 years younger than you, so that's really cool. What are you most looking forward to this summer?
Definitely our summer trip.
Summer trip. Yep. We go to Lake Oconee every summer, and we're very excited about that. Oh my goodness. There you have it. My firstborn, Mr. Brady Lay. I love that kid. This kid. I love being his mom. Brady, thank you so much for doing this and for being on the podcast. I cannot get over Brady Lay. I love that kid so much, and what I love most about him is that he's kind, and we don't expect perfection from our kids at all, but it's really important to both Brian and I that our kids are kind and that they are actively looking to bring others to their table and into their circles, and it just makes me so proud to see who he is becoming. I love the story of when Brady was shadowing, and that sweet child was such an includer to him, and it just made such a difference to him that I honestly think that really inspired him a lot. So, be that kid. I think it's just so important to be includers and to raise includers. And the first place kids learn important things, they learn them from us. They learn them from watching us. So this lesson isn't just for our kids. We need to be includers as grown-ups as well. As we close out this episode, I'd like to pray a little blessing over you as we try to raise a generation who looks out for one another. Rather than telling, may you show your children the behavior you wish to see in them. May you see the fruits of your patient labor bear out before your eyes. And may you and your family know the blessings of widening your circle to include other people, especially the ones who are hurting or who need friends the most. As always, I like to leave a little something with you to help you put into action what we have talked about here. And today, your task is this. As adults, I think a lot of us are starved for friendship. So today, instead of waiting for someone else to reach out to you, think about someone you could reach out to. Is there someone you know who might need a friend? Is there a new neighbor who moved in down the street or someone new at church? Do you know someone going through a big transition in their life who might need a helping hand or just a cup of coffee and a listening ear? Reach out to that person. Invite them to the 4th of July barbecue. Ask them to join your knitting circle. You can even take a baby step and invite them to be your friend on social media to start things out. And start commenting on their posts, showing them that you're engaged in their life. Be an includer. It is a gift for you both.
Thank you for listening to the Simplified podcast. I hope today's episode left you feeling more equipped to raise kids who make space for others, and maybe even feeling like you can be an includer yourself.
If you would like to see a video of my conversation with Brady, you can find this episode and every other Simplified podcast episode on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/simplified by Emily Lay. Plus, you can find show notes for this episode at emilylay.com/podcast, where you can check out links and resources I mentioned here, and you can shop the Simplified brand of planners and products. Plus, for more simplicity tips, you can find me on Instagram at Emily Lay and at Simplified. And if you like what you've heard on the show today, then you are going to love my brand new book, Growing Boldly, Dare to Build a Life You Love, which is in stores right now wherever you buy books.
Go buy the book. It's good.
Okay, one last thing. I hope you are loving the show as much as we love making it for you.
Yeah.
If you are, would you do me a favor and hop over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review? It is a small but mighty way to tell Apple, hey, you should totally show this podcast to more people because everyone loves it and it really helps us grow. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.